And now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. This portion of the show is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Rancho Leonero, where your wildest Baja dreams come true. Maui Jim Sunglasses, the choice of the best captains. Shimano Rods and Reels, fish with the best. Shimano. And by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Here we go. Another great hour of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. Here's Pete Gray and rock cod Rick Maxa.
Welcome back. Hour number 2. Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Pete Gray here with rock cod Rick Maxa. And we have Dave Pfeiffer from Shimano here, the president of Shimano American, in the studio with us for his annual visit. And Mr. Steve Pazel, who's the president of the San Diego chapter of CCA California, talking fishing here and having a great time, and what a prize.
Boy, you're not kidding, man. If you didn't catch that at the beginning of the show, what an awesome prize for one lucky caller at the end of the show, and thanks to Dave and everybody at Shimano for that. A brand-new Torium 16 HG, the brand-new Torium. And if that was enough, with that comes a brand-new spool, 500 yards, a 50-pound max quattro. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that you can put 500 yards of 50-pound on a 16-size reel.
Yeah,
so cool.
500-yard spool of max quattro for a 16-size reel.
Yeah, awesome.
And that Torium 16, that new Torium 16 HG, what a cool reel.
You guys did such a
mind-blowing.
We do this every time. We do this every time that there's a new cool reel that Shimano puts out. I always do the same thing. The original reel is always so good, and we always freak out at the tackle store. This happens every time you nail something. It's always, well, they're going to do new torque. Don't do anything. It's perfect. It doesn't need anything. We love it. It fishes great. There's no problems with it. And the new one comes out. It's like, oh my God, this is so much better.
What about the new Trinidad too?
Yeah. Same thing, exactly.
How can you improve Trinidad?
So we said, how do you make
it's iconic?
How do you make the best thing on the market better? You just don't need to, and then they do, and it's just, and then you're like, how did I ever live without this? It fits in my hand so much better, and it free spools better.
Calcutta D is another one.
There you go.
Yeah, love that.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Well, as you can hear, again, just great show. We're so stoked and so happy that somebody's going to get to try that brand new Torium 16. And again, if you want to get your chance to talk to Dave, ask a question, have some fun with us this morning, 858 area code 457-1090 or 877-792-1090.
All right, I want to tell you about an opening on the Royal Star that you want to go catch big fish. This is it. The Los Rocas trip on February 12th actually has a couple of spots open, which is unbelievable on the Royal Star, because they just never have spots open during prime time, long-range time. I know you'd want to go on this.
I'm in, dude. And I will just throw this, because I know you're going to say more. I know most all of those guys that go on that Los Rocas trip, that is such a fun group of guys to fish with. I mean, crazy, crazy fun.
Oh, yeah, and fishermen, too.
Yeah, very good fishermen.
So if you want to try your hand at the ultimate long-range fishing, RoyalStarSportFishing.com. Check it out, or give Tracy a call in the office and grab one of those spots. And leaving February 12th, you have plenty of time to pack your bags.
I'm in, man. That's a fun trip and a good group of guys, and they're biting. I saw a big picture of a big 330-pounder on the Royal Star right now. I mean, there's some really good fish biting. Hopefully we'll hear from Roy a little bit later on in the show. I know he wants to call us, tell us how good their trip was, because that RP is crushing them on their last trip.
Yeah, a lot of it. How many did you say over 2?
I think they got 11 over 2, but the boat's full. Like that average fish those guys were catching was 130 pounds. Like,
wow.
You get so numb to 130 pounder that the camera doesn't come out anymore. Like, it was just crazy good fishing.
And crazy good wahoo fishing.
Yeah. I talked to Roy yesterday on the radio. He's definitely planning on calling, but they said, just the direction they were going wasn't great for the satellite. So hopefully we'll hear from him. But yeah, I mean, he basically said the boat is absolutely full. They're on their way home. Fishing was unbelievable every morning, big ones. And the cool thing about that is the wahoo fishing has been just okay down there most of the year, and these last few trips, that wahoo is really turned on. So they had crazy good wahoo fishing, really good tuna, a bunch of big ones. It just sounds like a spectacular trip.
Yeah, indeed. So
I don't know why you'd want to do anything like
that. Right.
Yeah, why would you want to go catch giant tuna and wahoo and stuff like that?
I'd pass.
Yeah. Hey, let's go ahead and jump into those jam-packed phone lines, Rick.
You got it, man. Roger in Fullerton, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Roger, good morning. Thanks for hanging in there with us.
Hey, good morning, guys. Great show. Yeah, if anyone out there hasn't caught a fish with a Shimano reel, they've really got to do it. The drag is so smooth. But, Pete, you reminded me of the number of Trinidads I got, and then they came out with the A, and it just, you can't replace all of them.
Well, you can.
They're great reels. My question is, Dave, when you plan an adventure, what do you do? Where do you go?
Oh, boy.
What's your passion?
These days, I guess for an adventure, I'm trying to do, there's a lot of different things, but I'm trying to do some things I either haven't done in a long time or haven't done at all. So, I got a small group of guys. For example, last year we went kind of back to my roots. So I grew up in Michigan. We went to northern Michigan. We went smallmouth fishing, trophy smallmouth fishing. And, we were catching like 5 to 7 pound smallmouth in the spring. And lots of them, legit
Wow.
7.5 pound smallmouth. And that was just a really cool trip because it was just really different. And then, some of the other fun this year was a lot of the overnight marlin trips that we did up toward the Channel Islands, where we planned like 2 full days of, marlin fishing. And, we divide up the duties. You're going to do dinner, you're going to do lunch, and we all know we like good food. So it's a lot about the experience. But, there's still a lot of places in the world I want to go fish. I still want to fish here, but I still want to go a lot of places and fish in the world and just do some things I either haven't done or haven't done in a really, really long time. So the point is, it's a pretty broad spectrum of things that I'd still like to do. And I'm very fortunate to be able to have done a lot and to still be able to do a lot more. So
now here's a guy with a passion for fishing. Because how many miles did you fly last year?
Oh, I flew. Well, it was over 250,000 miles in business travel, which is a lot. And
and then you fly to go fishing.
Well, I would, yeah. I would.
So that's what I mean,
would.
man.
But I also, like I said, this past year, look, you can go a lot of places in the world, and you couldn't beat the fishing that we had right here last year. I mean, we had, and I'm bragging a little bit, but there's a point to it. We had 2 days marlin fishing. We went 17 for 21, including 2 blue marlin. I would challenge anybody to call in and tell me where you could go right now to go catch 17 marlin, and I'm not talking, little rat marlin, 17 marlin in 2 days. Anywhere in the world. I've gotten to know some guys in Hawaii that I buy marlin jigs from, and they're talking really good day there, 5 fish, 3 fish, and the guy that I've been buying a lot of lures from, he even said, we don't ever. He said, I don't even ever hear of that. And I know Cabo, when it's right, you can do better than that, or Mag Bay, but I'm talking locally accessible, easy, marlin fishing. And so some things like that. I mean, again, this year was great. Next year will be great. When we get into the cold water years again, who knows? But there's just fishing all over the world that sounds good. So I know I didn't answer your question directly because some of them I don't really know. There's a lot more that I want to experience and what's next, and a lot of places I still want to check out.
You bet. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning.
Harry in La Jolla, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. What's up, Harry?
Hi there, guys.
Good to see you yesterday.
My good friend John Ireland kind of preempted me on talking about the show down at the Dana Landing yesterday. Pete, I wanted to thank you for that panel moderation that you did with those fellows over at Fast Lane. That was a really informative program.
Those guys were awesome.
They certainly were.
How'd you like Jimmy Decker's description of the dredge for bay bass? That was pretty good, huh?
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
Yeah.
He really is. Hey, Dave, I have a question for you. Last December, I was very fortunate to fish with half the San Diego saltwater fleet captains down. We went down to El Salto in Mexico and did some freshwater bass fishing, and it was incredible. Mm-hmm. I'm going back down again in June, and I plan to build into my itinerary 2 trips a year down there. I want to get some very specific gear for those large freshwater bass. What would you suggest in the way of a new reel, a Shimano reel, and a rod?
So one, great. El Salto, I fished there many, many times, loved it. Bass fishing now, it's very difficult to just say, get this, because there are so many techniques, whether you want spinnerbait, a crankbait, you want a jig rod, you want a worm rod, whatever. I think that in bass fishing especially is where the reel becomes more universal. So if you get a Corrado high speed, it's going to do just about everything that you want to do. And then you have to specialize the rod, because a spinnerbait rod is entirely different than a jig or a worm rod, which is entirely different than a topwater or a crankbait rod. So, you really have to narrow that in, especially if you're, fishing those techniques a lot. And I fished El Salto a lot. I haven't been down there in quite a number of years, but depending on when you go, that topwater fishing is amazing. The jig fishing, which is underutilized down there, is amazing. But again, it's very, very, very different on the rod. The reel can do just about anything you need it to do. But the rod is very specialized. And I personally would look in something like our Crucial lineup. It's a very diverse lineup, a lot of different rods, very technique specific, and match it with what you want to do. A lot of the descriptions are really right and helpful to pick out according to what what you're going to maybe do the most of or take a bunch. My biggest problem in El Salto is I carried so much gear I didn't think they were going to let me in the country, but I loved it. It was fantastic. It's a place where you can go throw it all.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you that you can either go and throw it all, or you can take one thing and just do it all day long and still catch a huge number of fish. It really just depends on. I'm a gear freak, so I just loved to move from the top water to the spinnerbait, then to the jig. But there was a couple trips down there where I picked up a jig, and I told my guide I only wanted to fish a jig. And that's all we did all day, and just caught tons and tons and tons of big fish. So cool. Get a Corrado, spool it with Power Pro, and then match the rod to it based on the technique you want to do, and you can't go wrong.
How does the rod differ fishing a jig versus fishing a worm?
A jig and a worm rod are usually fairly similar, because the technique is fairly similar. I like a little bit more with a worm rod. I tend to like a little bit longer rod down there because you fish real open areas. They'll tie the boat off on a tree and you make long casts with a worm. So I like a little longer rod with a very, very fast action and a lot of power. A jig rod, you want them to get the boat moving at the right speed, and so you're doing a lot more pitching. You're getting a real rhythm of pitching the jig up in, hopping it down the rocks. I like a little shorter rod for that because it's a little easier to manage. There's not really a lot of true flipping down there where you're just dropping into heavy, weeds or structure. But so anyway, I like a little bit shorter. So for a worm rod, I like a 7 to 7.2, and for a jig rod, I like a 6.8. And just because it's a little easier to handle for making lots of casts over and over and over and over again. But both of them, you want an extra fast action with a lot of power. And I would fish, for example, I fished 65 pounds straight Power Pro down there with a jig or a worm.
Tied right to the eye.
Tied straight to the jig. No need. No need whatsoever, at least when I was there. Maybe it's changed, but when I was there, and you needed every bit of that. Literally, we would straighten hooks on the jigs fishing that way at times. But, again, maybe the conditions have changed down there. I don't know, but it didn't matter. Clean water, dirty water, 65-pound minimum. We never went below 65. You could probably get away with 80. And now with Max Quattro, you could even do the same thing. And then, again, my favorite was a 6.8, extra fast, heavy for the jig, and then a little bit longer rod for the worm. And then a spinnerbait topwater rod, all that's a little bit different. Different too. So,
but on the Shimano website, Shimano.com,
it's all there.
Go to the Crucial line. It'll tell you exactly
what's what. And then, like I said, a reel, you can't go wrong with just a straight Corrado high-speed reel. Will work for everything.
I think we're very familiar with all the saltwater reels on here, but freshwater slightly less so. Where is the we know that Talica and Trinidad's like the pinnacle of saltwater technology right now. What is that pinnacle in freshwater, low profile or round? What's the highest end, and what makes that so cool?
Well, you can go really, really high end on the bait casting side when you start looking at our Antares and Metanium and Aldebaran, and really it starts to get about weight. I mean, they get insanely light, very, very, very fast spool speed. But still really rigid to fish straight Power Pro or whatever. So, my straight line recommendation was a Corrado, which is kind of like a workhorse, similar to maybe a Torium.
What all of us probably fish.
Right. And you'd go to like a Chronarch or a Metanium would be the equivalent of like a Trinidad compared to the Torium. But, anything in that range is going to suit you extremely well. Some of it is just how light do you want to go, how fast the spool speed, how specific on the gear ratio, those type of issues. But the bass world there's so many more choices and so much more specialization. And again, the rod is as or more important than the reel in most of the freshwater applications because it's about delivering that lure the right way and then having the right feel. You use too powerful or too fast an action on a spinnerbait, they don't cast well, and you miss too many fish because you don't give the fish time suck that spinnerbait in before you pull it away from them. So there's just a lot of differences there to think about.
How important do you put emphasis on the rating of the rod? The rod says it's 20 to 40. Do you put any emphasis on
in
that?
Freshwater?
In fresh or saltwater?
We try to rate ours pretty accurately in terms of the spread, the low end and the high end. I don't know how seriously other people do that, but we really try to optimize the actual action for that line rating. So with our stuff, I take it pretty. I'd say it's pretty dead on because we just pay a lot of attention to it. Yeah. But some of them are so broad it's ridiculous. Like 20 to 60 or 20 to 80. That's a ridiculous rating. Yeah. It's a totally ridiculous rating in a saltwater rod.
Doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. At the low end or the high end. Yeah. Well, if it works at the high end, it isn't going to work at the low end, and vice versa.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. Yeah. Hey, Harry, good to see you yesterday. Thanks a lot for the call this morning.
All right. Hey, with that, we're going to find out what's going on the water. It's time for our FishDope.com tip of the week. Our man, your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen, is standing by. What's up, Dave?
Morning, Dave.
Hey, good morning, you guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey,
good morning.
Last week we talked a little bit about we were going to give you guys some tips on this lobster thing. And so this week we're going to talk a little bit about where I believe you need to be. As the season rolls along now, everything's going to start to move into the shallow water. And so what I do when I get over to Catalina is I like to get over there when it's still light out. And Catalina, the visibility in the water is so good. What I do is I look for the eelgrass in the areas that I like to fish. Once I find where the eelgrass is, that's where I'm going to put my hoop nets. For some reason, those lobsters love that eelgrass when they're out looking for food. It gives them some type of shelter, I believe, and also they like it for when they're spawning. It gives them a nice clean area to spawn in, and they're not out in the sand where they're getting attacked. So what I do is I find out where the eelgrass is. I'll put 3 or 4 hoops on one little eelgrass patch, a couple in another eelgrass patch, a couple in another eelgrass patch, and then wherever I end up finding them, that's where they are. That's where we'll put all our hoops for the night, and we end up doing really well. And what I'm doing over there this time of year is I'm fishing really, really shallow, guys. I'm fishing in 10 to 25 feet of water. I know that's kind of mind-boggling, but that's what I found in the last 20 years of doing this every day is that stuff loves to move into the shallows the last couple months of the season, and it's really, really good. You can look at a lot of my posts. You can look at a lot of my clients' posts. It's really, really good this time of year in the shallow water over there at Catalina.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's so good. The end of the season's like my favorite time of the year to go hooping.
I'll tell you, Dave, I'm with you. I sure like pulling from 20 feet a whole lot more than 120 feet.
But if you have the ace line hauler, it really doesn't matter, does it?
It matters a lot less when you have the ace line hauler. It still matters some.
What I find, too, is a lot of the time, especially at Catalina, we have a phenomenal amount of current over there. So if you don't have everything set up right, if you don't have the right weight in your hoop, if you don't have a couple of big buoys or one big buoy and enough rope, when that current comes by, and if it has any kelp in the current at all, it's going to grab your hoop and take it away in that deep water.
Oh, yeah, gone. We know that one, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
For sure. Hey, Dave, great stuff. Of course, FishDope.com is the source for all your information from Dave, from Mark, and all the top sources there. If you want to get a membership, you don't have one for whatever reason, $20 off a new membership right now using the code HOOKUPNOW. Lowercase, no space, Hookup Now. And if we want to go fishing with Mr. Dave Hansen, Captain Dave Hansen, how do we do that?
Well, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can go high end and come on my charter boat. I got a 65-foot Hatteras. We charter out of Dana Point. It's real high end, but you can go out and have a really good time. Or if you have your own boat, I'd be more than happy to bring my knowledge and all my stuff and go with you on your boat and show you how to catch lobsters, fish, whatever you want, or meet you at whatever level you want. Just give me a call at 949-374-0786 and watch Fish Dope tomorrow morning because Kelly and I are hooping tonight.
All right. All right. Dave. Good luck. Have fun, Dave. We'll talk to you next Sunday and watching Fish Dope tomorrow morning for sure.
Now, by the way, I read something in the regulations. They're talking about outlawing the assisted line pullers.
There was discussion on that, but it's not going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks to guys like Jim Salazar and
right.
there was actually the problem was the commercial fishermen
Yeah.
were complaining about it.
Yeah.
Now the commercial fishermen have figured out, well, we better not challenge recreational fishermen because they're really on our side,
Yeah.
kind of. So we better work together on this, and so they kind of dropped that.
A resource that's good for both. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
no doubt about it. So that's right. But you never know.
Yeah.
You know, that's why CCA. You know, we got to keep in touch with stuff. It's all full circle. Hey, I want to remind you, next Saturday, of course, Ricky won't be here. He'll be, and we're going to have a great guest in the studio.
Me and Doug will be winning the Bay Bass tournament. Is what you were. I'm sure that's what you were planning on saying. We were planning on winning the Bay Bass tournament,
exactly.
Doug and I.
Captain J.J. Garrison, commercial albacore fisherman, will be in the studio.
That's going to be a great
Ricky will
show.
be on the water, hopefully giving us a report about all the 5-pounders he has on the boat. But next Saturday, if you want to attend the San Diego Anglers Bay Bass tournament down on Shelter Island, the guys at Cedros Adventures are stepping up big time. They're going to be there. They're giving away a 5-day trip to Cedros next weekend.
That's
next
so
Saturday.
cool. That's airfare, that's pickup, that's everything. You're going on a full Cedros package, not going to cost you anything other than a tip and some beers, and you're going to get to go fishing at Cedros. I'm so stoked.
Yeah, so that's one of the many prizes is next Saturday, among other fantastic prizes that they're giving away. I know they're giving away a trip to Rancho Leonero. They're giving away all kinds of stuff.
And these are raffle prizes that absolutely anybody can participate in. So even if you're not fishing the tournament, you want to come down, have a killer barbecue lunch, and hang out, and you know, throw your name in the hat for this awesome raffle. Raffle tickets are inexpensive, and you know the money that they raise, this is their biggest fundraiser, funds the club throughout the year, and then usually they take a certain amount. They say we want to raise X amount of money, and every dollar over that always gets donated to an awesome fund. It's usually a children's related charity, and this is just such a cool event and so worth participating in. And who knows, maybe you'll go to Cedros.
Yeah. Or Rancho Leonero, or a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
So that's next Saturday. And like I say, you don't have to fish. Just come for the barbecue starting at 2 o'clock and buy your raffle tickets and eat for free, drink for free, and have a lot of fun.
That raffle goes forever. There's so much stuff they give away. So much tackle gets donated. So much cool stuff to win. It's a really fun event. I really encourage everybody to come down and check it out.
And for a good cause, too. I might also bring your attention to our website, hookup1090.com. On our trips page, our first Cedros Adventures trip that Rick is going to host is sold out. It's gone. Monday, July 25th. And then we have our next Cedros Adventures trip Monday, August 22nd, which is absolute prime time at Cedros Adventures. Actually has some spots available on that. So if you want to go to Cedros Adventures with us, Monday, August 25th to Friday, August 26th is available. We also found out yesterday that one of the spots on our sold out for almost a year Pesca Panama trip on April 2nd, that myself, John Ireland, Steve Pennard, we're going on that trip. One spot opened up due to an illness with one of the participants in it. So it says sold out on our website, but give Cass a call, because yesterday he said there was a spot available on that Pesca Panama trip, and there's nothing like that.
I want to go so bad.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That's
Looking
cool.
forward to that trip. So check that out. It's all on our trips page, hookup1090.com. Just scroll to the trips page and check it out.
All right. Hey, let's jump right into the phones. Tom in Temecula, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Tom, thanks for your patience.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Hi, Dave. I'm a big fan of Shimano stuff, and your service department, they've saved me a couple times.
Oh, well, good. Thank you.
Anyway, I have a question concerning a reel I ran across. It's called a jigger reel. I think it comes out of Japan, basically.
Yes.
It's OCA reel.
Yes.
Can you kind of comment on that reel as far as it looks an awful lot like Trinidad?
Yes, it's based on the exact same platform as the Trinidad. Couple minor spec modifications for their market and their style of jigging, but otherwise the guts, the frame, everything is based on a Trinidad.
Is there a place for that market in our waters out here in Southern California, or is it primarily designed for Japan?
There is and there isn't. I mean, the main thing is they don't use that reel for really anything other than, butterfly jigging, straight up and down. So so if we introduced it here, it would be positioned just that. Whereas the Trinidad we sell is a little bit more versatile, that it's great for jigging, it's great for fly lining, it's great for a bunch of different things. So, honestly, for us, we just have to be a little bit careful. There's no end to how you can sort of slice and dice the market into these really, really specialized, finite, markets and purposes, and we just chose in this case that just specifically for jigging, it's a smaller market, one, and then two, if people tried to use that reel more like they use a Trinidad for fly lining baits or any sort of live bait fishing, they would be disappointed because it doesn't work as well in that sort of scenario. So, and again, that's just because of the market-specific uses of the product. We have that throughout Europe, throughout Australia, the U.S. We tend to make minor modifications or sometimes major modifications based on the requirements of that market. So that's why we chose not to sell the Oshii here. For example, it has a spool lock feature. It has an automatic clutch return, those kind of things. So you take one of those, take the automatic clutch return. If you throw a surface iron with it and that handle moves, that clutch isn't going to engage, and you're going to, about every fifth cast, you're going to lose your jig. It's going to snap right off because the reel's going to go in gear. So there's just those kind of features. But if you're jigging, that automatic clutch return's really cool because the jig's falling. If you get bit, you just turn the handle, and you're in gear and you're ready to go. So that's kind of the long and the short of it, and why we make a lot of the modifications or sell slightly different models based on the same platform.
Do other markets appreciate like the super finite, technique-specific reel more than we do out here, or does that just happen to be this case for this one?
I don't know that they, quote, appreciate or don't. It's just based on how they fish, and everybody fishes the way they fish. I mean, for example, like surface iron fishing, there is no surface iron fishing anywhere else in the world besides Southern California. Right. I mean, even within the United States. So, the things we do to optimize like a Trinidad or even a Torium for surface iron fishing and for fly lining small baits, even those aren't appreciated on the East Coast or in the Gulf Coast because they don't do that. So, there's just there's a lot of differences in markets around our U.S. and around the world.
Who cares if you have the best free spooling reel in the world if you just want to drop it to the bottom?
If you're going to drop 6 ounces of lead straight down to the bottom every time, we don't really care.
Crank the spool tension over so you don't backlash kind of thing.
Exactly.
When we're so stoked that it free spools so
yeah,
good.
And it's like the original Trinidad, for example. We had the adjustable clicker. Yeah. That was a feature that was lobbied really hard from our Australian market, where they really, really used that down there for their live bait and even dead bait fishing in the holder. And it was one of those features that it didn't hurt the performance of the reel in any other way in any other market. So we said that's fine. And we saw limited use for it out here. So that's one that was the reverse. And it was one that was kind of appreciated maybe in Southern California, but wasn't utilized in a lot of other markets here even. So, it fell off of the new Trinidad, but that's one that was an example of one that was in reverse.
There you go. Thanks a lot for the call this morning.
All right. Hey, when we come back, we got more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. More of your phone calls. You stay tuned. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the mighty 1090.
Inland Boat Center is the destination for your next boat. They've been around 35 years, so they're here to stay with something for everyone. Inland Boat Center has a giant inventory of all types of boats, including the perfect saltwater fishing boats made by Arima and Defiance. Inland Boat Center has a huge 2.5-acre indoor showroom with over 300 new and pre-owned boats, making them the largest boat store on the West Coast. Family-owned and operated, they are proud of their customer service. They take trades of all types. Come check out their inventory of Defiance boats from 20 to 29 feet, or the fantastic selection of the amazing Arima boats from 17 to 21 feet. Inland Boat Center has a full service department, fiberglass repair and upholstery department. Everything you need is under one roof at Inland Boat Center, 681 East San Jacinto in Paris. Check the website for the current inventory and more at inlandboatcenter.com. If you've heard the advice Scott Sherman from Fifth Avenue Insurance has given anglers over the past couple of years, you know there is much more to your boat insurance than just a low rate. Well, Fifth Avenue Insurance can not only find you the lowest rates on your boat insurance, they also make sure the coverage you get meets all your needs. What if you had an accident with the boat and found out you didn't have proper coverage? Well, that just won't happen when you insure with Fifth Avenue Insurance. Call them for advice on your current boat policy or any of your insurance needs. Fifth Avenue Insurance, 619-640-3130, or check the number 5 THAVEINS.com.
My Angler H2 oath. I will scent my lure with pride. And hope my boss doesn't notice the tan. I will outmaneuver drought-exposed sunken boats and outlast the hard-fighting largemouth bass. I will save water at home for better fishing out here and always always wear my life jacket.
What's your H2O? Tell us at BoatCalifornia.com. The California State Parks Division of Boating and Waterways reminds you to wear it, California.
This is Captain Tim Ekstrom from the long-range vessel Royal Star. With my partners Randy Toussaint and Brian Sims, we have set the bar for the long-range fishing experience. A spring 8-day, summer 5-day, or a fly-down, fly-back 11-day winter trip, we deliver the highest quality long-range voyage you will find. From our premium RSW fish storage to our top-of-the-line chefs and crew, Royal Star distinguishes itself from all others. Want to grab a spot on the Royal Star? Check us out at RoyalStarSportFishing.com or call Tracy at 619-224-4764.
Here's John Ireland for Rancho Leonero.
Rancho Leonero is very family-oriented. People have brought their children down, and now they're bringing their children. It's not unusual to have 3 generations of family at the hotel. Grandpa, Dad, and normally sons, sometimes daughters. The families come back year after year, and it's a safe place for the kids. It's small, it's intimate, right on the water, 2 miles of beachfront. The water's very shallow in front. There's no currents to speak of, no waves. We have childcare, $10 a day for a babysitter. Security is high at Rancho Leonero. It's really unnecessary, but it adds up comfort level. And we really do encourage the families. It's a great place for family reunions, family get-togethers, weddings, we do it all. 1-800-646-2252, 646-BAJA. And RanchoLeonero.com. There's nowhere that I could think of to have the same atmosphere and the same experience that you get at Rancho Leonero. We love families.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090.
All right, the phones are packed. Let's jump back into it. Oh, look, one line just opened up.
Right?
The sneaker line, 858-457-1090. First time all morning a line's been
First
open.
time since before we went on the air.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good shot. Mike in Carlsbad, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Mike, what's good morning?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
You guys answered my question before with the guy that asked about the freshwater bass fishing rods and stuff. So I'm going fishing in Minnesota in June, and I was just wondering if Dave could elaborate a little bit more on the freshwater rods and reels again.
Yeah, Minnesota in June, you're going to be there literally right after the bass season actually opens. There's an opener there. And Minnesota, you're going to have cooler water and a lot of grass. Those are mostly grass lakes. You're probably going to be fishing jerk baits and some things like that. So you're going to be and the fish aren't as big as they are in El Salto. So your available sort of techniques are not going to be as great as El Salto. But it's the same thing applies. You can take a reel, a basic Corrado high-speed reel, and then you need to start specializing your rods. You're going to need a jerkbait rod. You're going to need a soft plastics rod, like a little swim bait rod. They actually fish. That's what we did last year in northern Michigan on the big smallmouth. Little paddle tail swim baits with a real light lead head. We actually fished umbrella rigs, which you may fish up there. So you'd need a heavier outfit for that. Otherwise, man, I just fished a hard jerkbait over and over and over again up in the shallows. Those smallmouth are moving up toward the shallows to spawn at that time of year. Depending on how cold the winter is, if the winter stays warm like this, you're going to be in a different pattern because it means it'll be an earlier spring. So all this will be for nothing. But so you'll have to follow that. But the main thing is you're going to have to really carefully select your rod based on your techniques. So I wish I could be more help, but I don't know what the spring's going to bring back there right now.
All depends on conditions.
Depends on conditions, but I know I wouldn't go without a hard jerkbait.
There you go. Thanks a lot for the call this morning.
Mike in Rosebead, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Mike, good morning.
Morning, Mike.
I think 90% of your callers are named Mike.
Well, this one's you.
Dave.
Yes.
My Durace components on my road bike shares the rafters with all my fishing rods, and they coexist together.
Oh, I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Durace is a real cool name, and maybe they should come up with a real similar name like that. But I got an old Bantam reel. It's a 10X SG. This is my first Shimano reel.
Uh-huh.
I paid $34.99 for it. I have the box right in my hand.
Awesome.
Well, one time I was fishing with it, and I noticed a little screw on the side plate that holds the level wind fell out, so I had to improvise, and I shoved a toothpick in there and broke it off, and So that replaced the screw on the reel, and still works.
That's funny.
Now,
We'll share that with our reel
that's my
repair guy.
story.
A good one.
That's cool, Mike.
All right,
thanks,
a
Mike.
lot for the call this morning. So toothpicks are amazing, aren't they?
Well, our guys, I'm sure, will have a batch of them on each desk now.
There you go. 877-792 just opened up. 792-1090 just opened up. Maybe we can put another mic on that line.
Yeah, there you go. Well, how about this time we talk to a Dave who's calling us from Needles. Dave's a first-time caller. We always say first-time callers go right to the front of the line, and that's the case. What's up, Dave? Good morning.
Morning, Rick, Pete, Dave. Great show this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Rick,
morning.
I just sent in my ESPY awards, and you're in for Angler of the Year for 2015.
I totally agree with that. I
Thanks,
totally
Dave.
agree with that.
It was a very lucky season.
Hey, love the show. A lot of talk about the rods today. This year I started using the 9 and 10 based on stuff I'm hearing on your show. My question is, looking for a little help. How are you guys transporting these things? I live up in the high desert, shoot down to the beach to go fishing, and I'm these longer rods now. I used to be able to put them diagonally in my extended cab crew cab truck there, and now not working so well. So now I can't stop anywhere on the way down. Really got to plan it out. Just curious on what you guys are using.
Ford Transit Connect.
I'm still lucky. Mine fit in my Ford Explorer, but what I do see guys do with trucks is if you've got a roof rack, I see them take a PVC, big enough PVC tube that, and some of them are professional, some of them are just good enough, but you lock that somehow to your roof rack, and you have it so at least one end is removable on the PVC pipe, and you slide them in there, close it up, and they ride on the roof. So. And I know that, who was it? I think it was Thule used to make a reel carrier thing to where the rod blank would be exposed, but the portion where the reel is would sit in a compartment that was lockable. So, you would have that on your roof rack as well. So there's some options there, but I think if it doesn't fit inside and you need to stop someplace, that's about your only option if the car's not going to be in view. If it's in the PVC pipe closed up, you're probably pretty safe unless someone cuts the whole PVC tube off the top. But
I've carried a 10-foot surface iron rod in whatever car I've been driving for years. You just make it work. It always from when I had a teeny commuter car from San Diego to Point Loma that I made sure that when I bought my most recent Ford truck, no problems. Any car I've ever had, made sure the seats rolled down, whatever means necessary. I'm not sacrificing my 10-foot Terramar for anything. I'll figure it out, whether it's going through the window on the passenger side or not. That thing's going.
There you go. Thanks a lot for the call this morning.
All right, how about we jump right back into them and talk to Sam, who's calling us from Irvine. Hey, Sam, welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hi, Sam.
Good morning. With this last season, towards the end there where it was real light line and things with the small baits, I wasn't really equipped well for that. I was thinking of getting a small Trinidad, but I was listening to the show yesterday and thinking about the little level ones. What would you suggest for like a 15, 20-pound outfit? And by the way, I have a pickup truck. I open up that split window in the back and stick them through there.
Oh, there you go.
I think if you're talking about fly lining small baits, for tunas like anchovies and things, I think
offshore,
yeah, Trinidad 12 or a Trinidad 14. I think that's still the most versatile because you can use it for a lot of other things. You certainly could go to, and in some ways they actually cast a little bit easier. You could go to a Calcutta D, a level line, a Calcutta 400D holds tons and tons. All the line you're going to get in the water anyway on a tuna with that light a leader. I think it just depends on what you're most comfortable with. It's just part of the reason I recommend the 12 or the 14 because they're also versatile enough then that if you can go a little heavier on your top shot, they're great for that too. So you take a 12 or a 14, you either put standard Power Pro or as we talked earlier, if you put Max Quattro on it, when the time comes to go heavier on your top shot, you can do that too. So those are still my favorites. That's my personal choice. I think you can't beat it. You put those on an 8-foot medium light action rod, and man, there's just not much you can't.
Terramars?
Either a new Terramar or a Therese 8-foot medium, light, or any of the medium light actions. A nice soft tip for that, and I don't know. That's pretty hard to beat.
Been so much talk about anchovy coming back, and it's going to be the next thing, and it never really has come to fruition yet, but we always keep talking about it. And that reel, if we do ever have a switch to anchovy again, that thing is just, it's worth its weight in gold. You know, the old school. Just think about how we could have had back in the day if we had Trinidad when there was anchovy fishing. You know, when you used to always have to fish a Newell 220 and you'd have to replace the drags literally after every single trip, and now you have a reel that's smaller, lighter, casts better, and is capable of catching a 50-pound tuna.
Yeah, or more.
Yeah, totally.
There
Absolutely.
you go. Thanks a lot for the call this morning.
All right. How about next up? We talked to Bob. He's calling us from Murrieta this morning. Bob, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Well, thanks for taking the call. Greetings, fellas.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, listen, I've got two questions, one for Dave and one for you, Rick and Pete, because I didn't get all the details. Dave, do you have to be a CCA member to be able to come to this meeting on Thursday?
No, not at all.
Okay. And can you join there at the time?
You could. You can join there. You can join online. You can join any time that works for you. But, you know, I think the point of the meeting is certainly we welcome everybody to come so that you can hear what CCA is about and why we need everybody's help and understand that what these chapters are. I think that's something maybe we didn't cover is the chapter is made up of volunteers, and it's their chapter. They're responsible for fundraising, and, I mean, they are the CCA presence in this case, San Diego, because we expect to have multiple chapters throughout the state of California. So, you know, CCA San Diego will be, CCA California, the San Diego chapter will be made up of people that, you know, live and fish and everything in San Diego, and they will be responsible for running that chapter. So we want people to come and eyes wide open and hear and see what we're doing, answer all their questions, and then hopefully get you to join and be a part of that chapter.
And most of all, just be involved with CCA because it's so important to our future.
Yeah, I just think the cool thing about the chapters is literally, and there is in the other states, there is competition amongst the chapters to see who can raise the most money, who can be the biggest, best, boldest chapter, and really just do great things in their markets. And I think the same we envision happening out here. So
and I'll give you an example, Bob. Steve is. I mean, how long have you been here in California?
6 years, just
6
over
years.
6.
And this guy has a big passion for fishing, and it grows every day. And Steve's a busy guy. He's a very, very busy guy. He travels a ton, but he's taken the time because of his passion for fishing to step up and say, okay, I want to be president and make this thing happen and make it organized. So thanks for that, Steve. That's a really awesome, good thing, and I'm hoping that the rest, by saying that the rest of the people out there say, well, I'm too busy to go to this meeting. Well, we all are too busy to go to that meeting, but how important is your fishing future? I mean, I hate to get on the soapbox here, but that's...
But I'm glad you asked the question. That's a good question about, no, you don't have to be a member to attend, so I hope everybody comes and checks it out.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate the call this morning. We'll see you there.
All right, jumping right back into it, we're going to talk to Brian. He's calling us from Wildemar this morning. Hey, Brian, welcome to the show.
Morning.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
What's up, Brian?
I was lucky to get out in twice, but the first time fell off. Dave, is there any new plans for the Sunnis or bait runners? Anything new in the books?
You know, we recently just did a lot on the whole bait runner series. We have multiple series of reels with the bait runner function. So, you know, not anything else beyond that at this point, just because we're pretty deep in them right now, which all of them are on the website right now. But we've got some really good bait runner featured reels right now. And, you know, the Tunis is there, the regular bait runner is there, the bait runner OC is there. So that's as many bait runner featured reels as we've had in a long time.
I know it's not exactly on topic for Brian, but I will just say I really like that new Twin Power. That's a really cool spinning reel that has features of a reel that's maybe out of budget for some, but you know, if you're looking for a reel to go catch tuna and be a popping reel and do all those things, but a budget that maybe is a little easier, it's not easy to exteriorly feel the difference between that and a reel of an even higher class. I really like those Twin Powers.
Yeah, they've been very popular so far.
Yeah. And the market for spinning is growing.
It is.
In Southern California.
Well, it's growing everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, and part of that is because really, honestly, the product development, as the product has gotten better and more capable, it shows that a lot of people would either rather fish spinning or there's a lot more opportunity to fish spinning. like, Ricky and I were talking at the break about, you get onto that Panama stuff and throwing poppers and stuff on tuna. Without a good spinning reel, you couldn't even really participate in that market. It's just the dynamics of it are all wrong for a conventional. Yeah, I can cast a popper on a conventional. I can't do it all day and work the popper appropriately, nor can I get 65 pounds of drag out of a reel small enough, conventional reel, that I need to fish those poppers and get the distance and everything. So the spinning reels are, in some ways, honestly, spinning reels have advanced faster than conventional reels, and they're every bit as capable or more capable and versatile than a lot of conventional reels right now.
So if you were going to Panama fishing big tuna on poppers, what size twin power would you take?
Well, I think it, you can get in there with, if you use Max Quattro now, you can even go a little bit smaller. But I think for the most part, you're going to still want to be in that a minimum of a 14,000 size in twin power. I actually like to go a little bit bigger, which puts you in the Stella. I like that more, the close to the 20,000 size, only because, and you can take multiples, but there are days in Panama where the fish are 150 to over 200, and there are days where they're 75 to $1.25 or something like that. Once you zero in on that, then you can pretty safely throw whatever you want to throw, in which case a twin power 14,000 is going to be fine in that zone of fish. And I'm not saying you can't land a bigger fish, but I'm saying if they're there and I'm catching them one after another, I want to go with a bigger Stella. But a 14,000 will do great on that 75 to 125, even 150 size fish.
Twin power is badass, and it's very strong, and everything that you would catch on a popper out here, no problem in the world. But if you're going to Panama to catch a giant fish on a popper, there's not a reel better than Stella.
No.
If you're going to make that investment and that time and that trip, that's the reel that needs to be in your quiver.
Same with East Coast bluefin tuna fishing on the popper, with the size fish and everything they're catching there. You're going to be in the Stella zone size-wise.
They catch bluefin tuna on the popper in the
all
East Coast?
Summer long, man, up in the shallow water. Guys are doing them out of the same skips we fish inshore. So Ricky, your boat's smaller. They fish all summer long when they have when the fish move in, and they're 100 to 300 pound fish, all on the popper.
So sick.
They run the whales, they run all that stuff, and they just blind throw poppers, and these fish just crush them.
Wow. Pretty incredible. Right. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning. Let's try and sneak in one more, Rick.
You got it. How about Jerry calling us from Garden Grove? What's up, Jerry? Thanks for hanging in with us.
Good morning, guys. I'm a diehard Shimano guy, and I drink the Kool-Aid big time. And,
Thank you.
I hear it from my buddy all the time, but I don't care. I'll take it all day. But I picked up a Terramar TMC 86. It's a medium heavy. And what would be the perfect reel to put on that for a service iron or waxwing?
Surface iron and waxwing is a little bit different story. You got the 8.5 medium?
Yeah, okay. Medium heavy.
So honestly, for waxwing, here's the difference. For waxwing, I like a level wind, and for surface iron, now with Tranks, I like level wind or non-level wind. So if you want one that does both, I would go with a Tranks. That is the perfect reel for doing both.
Good answer.
You can't miss.
Spool, plenty strong. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
great
you
call.
can't miss with the Tranks. With
Max Quattro
both those. You can put Max Quattro 65 on there because you want a little bit of bulk for that casting. Here's where Ricky and I diverge, because I fish straight Power Pro to the surface iron or to the waxwing, and you can't beat the Tranks for that. I mean, it's really quickly becoming one of the most popular surface iron setups especially for people that are getting into surface iron fishing, because the Tranks is so manageable, great casting distance. It just changes the whole dynamic, and the Terramar rods are meant for that.
Yeah, and you use the braking system, the very braking system. You can adjust, and as your casting gets more proficient, you get more.
Right, because the actual cast between a waxwing and a surface iron is very different. They act very different in the air, so your control and your casting performance is very different between the two. Both highly effective in different situations. But I just don't see how you can go wrong with the Tranks, and that's what I've started fishing. Ask Benny Florentino. If you don't trust me, ask Benny Florentino.
Benny talked all about it yesterday
He
on
has
the show.
single-handedly changed everyone's perception of that in the market.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Thanks a lot for the call this morning.
When we come back, we're going to find out who's got a brand-new Torium 16 and a full spool of 500 yards, 50-pound Max Quattro. We got more Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090.
This is
Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing. Are you aware that Fisherman's Landing has the finest charter boat fleet on the West Coast? We have charter boats from 50 to 85 feet in length and can accommodate charter groups from 8 to over 50 passengers. If you are planning to book a charter this year, I wouldn't wait too long. With the outstanding fishing that we've had the past 2 seasons, prime fishing dates for 2016 are already disappearing. If you have never booked a charter before, all you have to do is contact a few fishing buddies, pick a date, and call the Landing. Our office crew will make booking your charter a breeze. If your group is from 8 to 14 anglers, the Bluefin, Pacific Quest, or Maximus would be perfect. If you have 15 to 35 fishermen, check out the Pacific Dawn, Fortune, Commander, Islander, or the Pegasus. You can also charter our open party boats, Dolphin, Prowler, Condor, and Pacific Queen. Don't allow your prime fishing date to slip away. Charter one of Fisherman's Landing's premier boats for a spring yellowtail trip or a summer or fall offshore tuna trip. You will be happy you did. You can find us at www.fishermanslanding.com or call us at 619-221-8500 to book your fishing charter.
This is Captain Art Taylor of the 95-Foot Searcher. Team Searcher would like to thank all of our great customers for their support in our fantastic 2015 season. The Searcher has a fantastic crew, great food, air-conditioned cabins and galley, satellite TV, and an RSW system to preserve your catch. Our 2016 schedule is out, so don't miss the boat. Book your trip online at searchersportfishing.com or call Celia and Jen at 619-226-2403. That's 619-226-2403.
Hey, this is Captain Paul Hebert from the Wicked Pisser. My brother Bruce and I make a living catching giant bluefin tuna. In fact, I wouldn't even go fishing with any other sunglasses than Maui Jim. Put a pair of Maui Jims on and instantly the glare is gone, the UV that can damage your eyes is gone, the ocean's true colors come shining through like never before. And with more contrast and clarity, you can see the bluefin at that critical time. Take it from me. Try a pair at your local tackle shop or check out MauiJim.com. You won't believe your eyes.
Great boats, free parking, and a fully stocked tackle shop. Just a few of the reasons Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top charter boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Eclipse, Apollo, Outer Limits, Pacific Star, El Gato Dos, Alexis, Pride, Privateer, Tribute, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth Sea Watch in San Diego offer the finest half, 3/4, and full-day trips available. Check out the full-service tackle store at Seaforth Sport Fishing. And it's all run by fishermen for fishermen. 1717 Quivira Road, just off Mission Bay Drive in Mission Bay. Book online at seaforthlanding.com.
SRS 1090 AM, Rosarito, Baja California.
You are listening to the home of the Aztecs.
What's that slam dunk? That's what I'm talking about.
San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. All right, the thing I know a lot of people are waiting for, the big winner of a brand new Torium HG16 reel with that spool of Max Quattro 50-pound is going to Mike in San Diego. Mike, congratulations.
One of the mics. Which one?
Yeah, one of the mics.
Yeah, one of the mics.
Well, if you're a Mike that gets a phone call from Ryan in the next few minutes, you're stoked. And if you don't, you're pretty bummed out. Congratulations, Mike.
Dave Pfeiffer, president of Shimano, thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to be here for your annual event.
Thank you, guys.
Sure,
thanks for having me. Thanks
awesome.
for all you do for Shimano and for our fishing business in Southern Cal.
Yeah, well, thank you for being a great supporter for many, many years for us, and we'll look forward to having you back next January.
Next January.
There we go. All right, and Steve, once again, one more time, the meeting this Thursday.
The meeting this Thursday, 5. You can show up starting 5 o'clock. Carl Strauss in Sorrento Mesa in San Diego. Open CCA meeting, and come on up, and then you can sign up to be a member.
Yeah, awesome. And it's open to everybody.
Open
no
to
members or no members.
Open to everybody.
Yeah, so just come on down and see why you should be a part of CCA. All right, guys. Thanks, Steve. Great job. Keep up the great work at CCA. And like I said, next Saturday, Ricky will be on the bay doing some bay bass fishing. And we'll have Captain J.J. Garrettson, former guy in San Diego, is now a commercial albacore fishing. You're going to be in the Mighty 1090 studios with me next Saturday. And then next Sunday, Ricky will be back in the studio along with myself. Captain Sam Patella and Ray Lopez from the American Angler will be in the studio here. That's going to be a great show, too. Thanks for listening today. We'll see you next week right back here on the Mighty 1090.